At the start of 2025, a 32 GB RAM kit cost around $120. As we entered 2026, that same kit sits at $350, and sometimes even higher. That means one PC part now costs more than a PlayStation 5. And if you're thinking, okay, prices must cool down now, right? That's the dangerous assumption. In the next few minutes, I'll show you why RAM prices stayed this high, what actually happened over the last year, and what you should do right now if you're building or upgrading in 2026. Because waiting hasn't helped so far, and it still might not. If you built a PC before 2025, RAM used to be the easy part. You picked a kit, added it to the cart, and moved on. But over the last year, memory quietly became one of the most expensive components in a build. And now, at the start of 2026, we're seeing the consequences of that shift. Looking back, 2025 wasn't a temporary spike. It was the turning point. Throughout the year, DDR5 prices climbed and stayed elevated. DDR4 prices became even more unstable. By the end of 2025, many 32 GB DDR5 kits crossed the $300 mark, with premium kits pushing well beyond $350. Meanwhile, DDR4 didn't get cheaper, it got rarer. A basic 16 GB DDR4 kit, once a $60 to $70 purchase, now sells for $120 or more in many markets. RAM, which used to take up around 10% of a PC budget, now eats up close to 30%. That's not inflation, that's a structural change. So why didn't prices come back down? Because the underlying problem never went away. The biggest driver is still AI. Over the last year, memory manufacturers doubled down on what made them the most money: AI and data center memory. High-bandwidth memory and server-grade DDR5 became the priority, not consumer kits. By late 2025, enterprise memory contracts were still outbidding the consumer market by a massive margin, keeping production lines focused away from gamers and builders. At the same time, DDR4 officially entered end of life. Factories didn't slow production, they shut it down. Which means what you see on shelves now is mostly leftover stock, and leftover stock doesn't get cheaper. That's why older RAM feels expensive and unreliable to buy. This didn't just hit DIY builders. As we moved into 2026, OEM PCs got more expensive. Upgrade options got worse. Base specs quietly dropped. You'll see more 8 GB systems at higher prices, slower memory in value builds, fewer configuration choices. And this is happening at the exact time AI PCs are demanding more memory, not less. The market didn't bounce back, it adapted. And unfortunately, consumers aren't the ones benefiting from that adaptation. So here's the practical advice for early 2026. If you're still on DDR4, you're in the danger zone. Prices are volatile, stock is inconsistent, and availability keeps shrinking. If you need more RAM, waiting hasn't helped, and probably won't. Buying sooner is still the safer move. If you're building new in 2026, go DDR5 without hesitation. Not because DDR5 is cheap, but because DDR4 is becoming a dead end. DDR5 is now the standard for every modern platform, and any money you spend there at least moves your system forward. Waiting only makes sense if your build isn't urgent and you're comfortable gambling on late 2026 or 2027 stabilization. With AI demand still accelerating, that's a risky bet. I want to know what prices look like right now where you live. Drop a comment with your country current RAM prices and whether this delayed your build or upgrade. If this video helped you make a smarter decision in 2026, consider subscribing. I'll keep covering PC market shifts before they quietly hit your wallet. Here's the reality in 2026. PC builders aren't competing with each other anymore. We're competing with trillion-dollar AI companies. And so far, we haven't won. Your dream PC is still possible. It just costs more than it should. And after everything we saw in 2025, one thing is clear. Waiting didn't save money. It just made the bill bigger.